clutter taking over your life? Do you realize that clutter is more than just the physical things around your home? If you pressed play on this, my guess is that you feel that clutter is taking over and you're feeling overwhelmed, like you can't live the life you want to live. Stay tuned as we talk about what clutter actually is and how to clear it out to calm that chaos. Hi, my name is Tammy Bartles and welcome to my channel, Pursuit Over Perfection, where I help women organize chaos one routine at a time. What is clutter? The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it as a crowded or confused mass or collection. It also says that clutter is to fill or cover with scattered or disorganized items that impede movement or reduce effectiveness. I don't know about you, but the crowded, the confusion, the disorganized, that stresses me out. Let's talk a little bit about what clutter is in your everyday life. I mentioned that it's more than just the physical things in your home, like toys and clothes and your dishes and all of that. It's also the things that you put on your calendar on a daily, weekly, monthly, and even yearly basis. If they aren't activities or things that bring joy to you or to your family, then those often are clutter. Those are things that cause confusion and overwhelm. I understand that many of you watching this probably have kids and your calendars are packed full to the brim with practices and games and recitals and dress rehearsals and all of the things. And while I might step on a few toes, you've chosen that. We've made those choices to add things on. Now, we may not have added them all at the same time, and so it's been a buildup, but as your calendar gets filled and as you have more responsibilities and more things adding on, it just becomes cluttered and everybody gets overwhelmed with everything that needs to take place. Just as you have chosen to add those things into your calendar, you could easily choose to not have those on your calendar. I know that may sound easier than it actually is, and maybe it is, but you can gradually peel things away just like you gradually peel things out of your closet. I've talked about in other videos how when you go on vacation, you have so much less on your calendar and it's so freeing, right? And I've also talked about when you go on vacation and maybe you go stay in an Airbnb or a VRBO or a hotel and how few things they have either on the countertops or in even their cabinets as decor. And those things all add up to clutter and excess. You can create that life of peace. You have to make the choices. And while it may not happen overnight, it is something that you can make changes gradually for you to live the life that you feel is best for you and your family. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 tips to clear that clutter. These steps are simple, but it doesn't mean that in today's world, they're easy to do. It does require work, and sometimes that's where it gets hard and people don't want to put in the work. Taking things slow and step by step is going to allow you to see progress. And even though it may be slow, it's something that you will be able to maintain in the long run. And let's jump right in. Tip number 1 in clearing that clutter is patience. This is hard because so often we want something right now, right then. But the clutter didn't come in to your home or onto your calendar overnight, so it's not going to get removed overnight either. In my previous video, I talked about boundaries and the importance of knowing when to say yes and when to say no. And sometimes we say yes because we feel this guilt or that we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. But in the long run, we need to be thinking about our family's overall peace and how sometimes saying no is actually for the better. I've already said, this is pretty simple to do. It's just a matter of taking action, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. It's definitely work to take those steps. Maybe you start with the toys, or maybe you start with your clothes because you've got an overabundance of all of it. Maybe it's hard to put your laundry away because you've got so many clothes that you can't even fit them into your closet. Same goes for cups and dishes. This won't be a fast process, but I promise you, with patience, it is worth it for you to work towards simplicity. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. This moves on to tip number 2, which is persistence. This is where that patience goes right along with the persistence because we can't give up in the beginning. The beginning is the hardest part. It's getting that train moving. Taking that first step is always the most difficult. I'm gonna use the analogy of even the clutter on my computer. I am one that I can have very organized physical spaces, but when it comes to the digital world, I am never going to say that I am a super organized person. I am one of those people that leaves about 1,000 tabs open on my internet browser. I'd love to hear in your comments down below. Are you a 1 or 2 tab person, or are you 100? I often find myself adding another tab because I'm like, oh, I'm not quite done with this tab, so I don't want to close it yet. Then all of a sudden the tabs get so tiny, I can't even see what are on them. So you start to close 1 or 2 and it doesn't really seem like it makes that much of a difference. But if you keep going, then all of a sudden you can see all of the tabs that you had open again, and you can get down to the ones that are absolutely necessary. Okay, persistence and persevering is something that I know can often be twisted into something that you get so hyper focused on, it can turn into a bad thing. This isn't what I am working towards. Those are oftentimes when they aren't beneficial or going to be helpful in the long term. And I would say, from personal experience, that if you stay persistent with clearing out one cabinet at a time or clearing off one shelf of your closet at a time, that consistency and persistence is going to reach you some better results in the end, and it will help you to move towards a life of simplicity. It really comes down to a choice that you're making. Either stay in your complete and utter chaos or make a choice to take that baby step towards more peace. What are you gonna choose? The third tip is to focus on the peace, to focus on that end result. I don't want this to get confused with wanting to skip to the good part and jump ahead and not enjoy the moment in and of itself. But what I'm talking about is knowing that in the moment of clearing out the clutter and going through that patience and the persistence is hard. Sometimes you have to work through the hard parts in order to get to that peace. To really focus on the life that you're wanting to live and to the home life you're wanting and the calendar that you're wanting, it's something that's going to be so beneficial in the long run. That has to be what you're striving towards. It may feel like tidying up your house for 5 minutes may not amount to anything, but those baby steps are huge in getting to that end goal. I've talked about the habit stacking and how little things add up, and it's truly something that is beneficial in the long run. I'm willing to bet that everyone is seeking some sort of peace. It's all different levels, and some people need it more than others. 1 Corinthians 14:33 says, "Our God is not a God of disorder, but of peace." Isaiah 32:18 says he wants us to live in peaceful dwellings. These scriptures were written thousands of years ago. And the thing is they didn't have all of the amenities that we have to have these plush homes and all of these things that are available at our hands. But just because we have them available to us doesn't mean that we have to participate in them. It doesn't mean you have to purchase every gimmick that you see. It doesn't mean that your kid has to be involved in every single sports or activity club. You have to see what is your threshold that your family can maintain and still find that peace and joy within. So, are you ready to live a life free of clutter? Are you ready to seek out that simplicity and the calmness? You may not realize this, but I do offer organizing and decluttering services. I would love so much to plan a 15-minute consult call with you and to figure out what are the next steps that you could take to either clear out the physical clutter or to figure out what items are cluttering up your calendar as well. I want to be that accountability partner for you. I want to be someone that is cheering you on and knowing that those baby steps are making progress, and progress is what we're working for. It's all about the progress over perfection. We're pursuing the life of peace. It is hard to ask for help. Sometimes it can even be embarrassing. I promise this is a judgment-free zone. So whether you're deciding right now that this is motivating you to take that first step, or if you need that extra motivation from an accountability partner like myself, I am praying for you, and I know that when the time is right, God's timing is better than my timing. His plan is better than my plan, and we all have things worked out in the end. I hope that you can take these 3 tips of having patience, showing persistence, and focusing on the peace. Please share this with a friend that you think would benefit from hearing these 3 tips. And I would love for you to like and subscribe to my channel so that you can stay tuned on more that I have to come. And I hope you have a blessed day. You need to start that over. No. Excuse me. Over mind whelm. Blah, blah.